What's going on, Audioholics? This is the Audioholics Unite podcast, and today we are going to be doing Van Halen by Van Halen, specifically the remastered 2015 edition. With me today, I have the co-host Logan, and I am, of course, Tyler. What's happening, Logan?
Not much, Tyler, the creator.
Listen, I create the best music on the planet that none of you have heard yet. Just wait a few years.
Yeah, and speaking of some of the greatest music on the planet, Van Halen.
Meh.
Okay, but you have to at least admit that this album is, like, amazing. Have you listened to this album? I should have asked you.
Yeah, I've heard it before. I do love Van Halen. Like, I love this album. Diver Down, I like. What's the other one? 1985. I like that one.
1984.
Fair Warning recently became my favorite Halen record, but, like, I would probably never say any of these albums are, like, 10 out of 10 material, personally.
Let's see. I would say, out of all of them, I don't, like, okay, Van Halen self-titled is obviously my favorite. Fair Warning, 1984, and then, like, every other album is kind of meh.
Yeah, I think Halen, as a guitarist, was a very influential guitarist, and we'll hear on this album some of his most influential songs, like Eruption, Running with the Devil, Atomic Punk, like quite a few songs. But as a band,
yes.
I'm not sure Van Halen was all that.
I think they were, but, they just didn't have the momentum. Like, Van Halen 2, I didn't even really like that album. Like, people say, like, oh, you have to listen to them together. Okay, but then why is one 10 million bajillion times better than the other?
I just mean, like, Van Halen is an influential band, but are they as influential as somebody like Iron Maiden? Or I don't think so.
I mean, like, honestly, I think that they've really kind of, like, they were the ones, I think, who really pioneered the hair metal genre. Which, whether you like that or not, it's definitely, I mean, like, without Van Halen, we wouldn't have Motley Crue, we wouldn't have, I mean, maybe we might have Poison, but they would sound kind of different. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, but, like, Nirvana also, like, introduced a wave of music, and I wouldn't really count them amongst the most, like, inspirational bands of all time either, you know?
I mean, there's a difference between bands that are influential and bands that you like.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people place Van Halen in the category as, like, the most influential band of all time. I don't think so.
Like, Nirvana is objectively really influential. They influenced an entire decade, basically. Or at least, like, half of one.
I don't think I would go that far. Grunge didn't last very long, and the bands that did come out of grunge and got big weren't inspired by Nirvana. Like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, all those bands came out around the same time as Nirvana.
Yeah, but would they have gotten as big without Nirvana?
No, I guess not, but that's just because Nirvana popularized the genre. We're getting off topic. Van Halen.
Van Halen.
One thing that's really interesting about Van Halen is that they do have a very unique sound, to the point where if you sound anything like them, you're immediately called a ripoff.
Hey, I mean, honestly, isn't that kind of fucking influence right there?
Kinda, but, like, a good example, like Weezer. Weezer just released a single called, like, Hero or something like that.
Yeah.
And, like, 100 people immediately jumped on it because it even sounded remotely like Van Halen. They're like, oh, it's plagiarism. And then the band had to come out and be like, no, it was inspired by Van Halen. We're not, like, plagiarizing them. Haken also, like, went through a similar thing with their song 1985, which was, like, directly a tribute to Van Halen.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, it's sort of like Led Zeppelin. Like, I would consider them influential because there's a million other bands that tried to, go after that cheddar. Whitesnake, Greta Van Fleet, Kingdom Come, The Jets.
Led Zeppelin's another one of those bands, but I don't think there's any band quite like Van Halen that just takes a certain sound, and that sound is known as the Van Halen sound. Led Zeppelin is blues
rock fair enough.
At its core.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But, like, it like kind of mixed like blues rock with like hard rock, and again, that I think would be another one of the pioneers of hair metal. Because again, like you have Whitesnake, which a lot of people compare to Led Zeppelin, and they were one of the biggest hair metal acts of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, speaking of bands that were influenced by Led Zeppelin, Van Halen.
Well, I mean, I don't really have anything more to say about it other than the cover art sucks.
Yeah, it does. Van Halen had some pretty good cover art, though. We'll get into that. They have
They
two.
had cover art, good cover art later, but not on this
Yeah,
album.
not on this album. Two specifically I can point to have really good cover art.
I really just don't understand bands who are like, oh, let's just pose like we're in a live show and that'll be the good album cover. Nobody likes album covers like that unless you're a live album, I guess.
We're listening to the first album, right? That's just their band logo.
Well, not on the remastered. On the remastered, it's their band logo with the picture of all the band members.
Oh my god, I never even noticed that. The logo just eclipses everything. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go through your spiel and then we can get started.
Right. So, you know what? We're just doing so much with this channel at this point. I'm still doing getting into trip hop. He's still doing getting into prog. We're still doing the wrong opinion. We have a System of a Down video we've been holding off for absolute donkey's years. What else? We still have to do like the top 50 albums of all time.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm not even sure we need to like list off all the series anymore. We just have so many of them.
Yeah, we just have so many of them. One thing I will say though, the link will be in the description. I highly recommend using AdBlock for the best results, so you don't have to worry about commercial interruption. So, without further ado, unless you have something else to say, 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. First
So
track.
we're starting with a classic, Running with the Devil.
I remember when my dad told me when he first heard this song. My dad's a huge Van Halen fan. And one of the reasons I'm sort of into them as well, I think, or as into them as I am. When he like heard the song on the radio, he went to the record store. He thought it was Flirting with the Devil. So he asked the guy like, "Hey, that band Flirting with do you have that Flirting with the Devil band?" Record guy's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Until he figured out Running with the Devil.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but like you have to imagine, when did this come out? 1979, I think. 78, I think.
78, yeah.
Yeah. This came out in 1978. Nothing really sounded like this back then. And honestly, like he said, nothing really sounds quite like it even now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most unique things about Van Halen, because like any given band, Blue Oyster Cult, Metallica, you can name other big bands that sound like it. Nobody sounds like Van Halen.
Exactly. And I think that's really the like one of the telltale signs of like you can have bands that maybe sound sort of similar, we're inspired by them, but like nobody will really be able to recapture this magic. Hell, even Van Halen can't recapture this magic. Have you heard the Hagar years?
Yeah. Not great, that's for sure.
I'm going to go on so many Van Halen rants.
I can't say I have as much of a history with it as you do. Van Halen was a band that I didn't grow up with. The only song I really ever knew was You Really Got Me and Eruption.
Yeah.
And they're more of a band that I've kind of checked out in recent years, and I've never really loved them. I like them, never loved them. Big difference.
You ever hear you ever hear the vocals only version of this song?
No, but I'm sure it's hilarious.
It is hilarious, yeah. And it was just like someone was like, it was just like, I saw it. I've heard about it on like this list of like top 10 band vocalists who aren't as good as you think they are, and it was just like, well, here's the vocals only version, so obviously it sucks. Like, okay, well, like that's like the same thing as like playing a sitcom without the laugh track.
Cheating.
Yeah, like everybody can say like, oh, if you took the laugh track out of Friends, it would be terrible. One, you don't need to do that; it's already terrible. And two, like that's unfair. That's like taking the instruments out of a fucking vocal mix. For example.
For example, yeah, not naming any specific people who may have said that or any specific events, but yeah, for example.
I've always wanted to do like a video where I like compile like era defining sitcoms and see if any of them actually pass the laugh track test. But like I have no sense of humor at all. And we are on Eruption. This is
And one of the interesting things, so for those of you who may not know for whatever reason, I am a guitar player. One of the interesting things about Eddie Van Halen as a guitar player is that, like, his stuff, I mean, some of it is very difficult and technical, but a lot of it is actually a lot easier than it sounds. Eruption, prime example. This is not a hard solo. This is one of the, like, most people, this is their first solo, because it's really not that hard. It's just a lot of tapping. Eddie Van Halen was a genius at taking something really simple and making it sound incredible.
I love what he does with the whammy bar too. It sounds like a whale, like about to like that just sounds badass, right?
Sounds like a whale orgasming.
Yeah. Yeah, but speaking of songs with good vocal tracks, Eruption by Van Halen.
Oh yeah, the best vocal performance.
I love the way that he makes his voice sound exactly like a guitar. It's just magical.
Yeah.
I stole that from Magic Mike, by the way. He still has yet to watch Magic Mike. I have yet to show him the majesty of Magic Mike.
Majesty of Magic Mike.
The Magic.
I don't even know what Magic Mike is, honestly.
It's a YouTube channel.
Oh.
he does like parody top 10 lists of like music.
Oh, I think you sent me something by him.
I've sent you a couple things. Now we are on You Really Got Me.
Yeah, this is a cover. I never knew that.
Yeah, I only like showed him that a couple weeks ago, I think. Have you ever heard the original yet?
Yeah. I obviously prefer this version.
I prefer this version too, but I mean, I guess it's nice to know. Obviously, like, I'm a huge Kinks fan. We will have to do low budget at some point.
Yeah. I think there are two marks of a good cover. One, if they take it and make it their own, and two, if like it eclipses the original.
And this does both.
Yeah.
This is better than the Kinks.
This is a great cover.
This is better than the
Kinks. Others just like it though. Whiskey in the Jar. I know we both have our problems with that cover, but Metallica did make it their own, and there are plenty of people who have no idea that it's a cover.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, I mean, like, like All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix did that, the cover of that, and Bob Dylan did it originally.
But what's that album with Roadhouse Blues on it? I forget which band did that.
That's the Doors, and that's the Doors, and that's Morrison Hotel, I think.
Yeah, and that was a cover, right? They basically
that's not a cover.
Made that their own song.
No, it's not.
It's not a cover? I thought it was.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, then maybe I'm thinking of an album that covered Roadhouse Blues from the Doors. I don't know. I just remember listening to that song and not knowing it was a cover, and then you telling me it was a cover of, I think it was the Doors that you told me it was.
Deep Purple did a really bad cover of Roadhouse Blues.
No, it wouldn't be Deep Purple. I don't like Deep Purple much.
Anyway.
Oh, right. It was Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They had a really good cover on a live album, and I was like, this is a cover? What?
Oh, yeah, that version sucked.
I don't agree.
I think I agreed. I think I, thought that one. Wait, no. I don't remember. I don't remember if I liked that one or not. I like the Born to Be Wild cover, but.
That was, way better than the original. And I do like Steppenwolf.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think most people know, and especially at the time, most people knew this was a cover. But, like, did you know, like, did you know Billie Eilish recently got a lot of shit because she said she didn't know who Van Halen was?
I did hear that.
I mean, it just kind of goes to show, like, the bands. I mean, like, we're not much older than her, but I mean, like,
You
it gets.
can't be a fan of metal and not know who Van Halen is. That just showcases that you're not a fan of metal, or at least you're a really casual fan.
I mean, was Billie Eilish ever saying she was a fan of metal, though?
I think so. I
I
think
don't
she
know.
did, and that's why she was getting a lot of flack for that. She was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I like metal music." It's like those people who are like, "Yeah, metal's my favorite genre. I love Nickelback."
I love Black Veil Brides.
Yeah, fuck those people. I
Yeah.
mean, listen, I don't like to be a gatekeeper, but like that's just you're not a metalhead. That's like those people who are like, "Oh
You're
yeah, I'm
only
a
a
gamer. I
metalhead.
love playing Candy
Yeah.
Crush."
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really like the labels. Like, you know what? You can be a gamer if you play Candy Crush, I think. And
No,
by the way, we are on Ain't Nothing But Love.
ain't talking about love.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to do this from memory, and I pretty much have it.
So, like, here's my opinion on like what makes you an Basically, if you're a gamer or you're like somebody who listens to music a lot, you're a fan of music, you're a metalhead, you're a movie snob, whatever the label is for that thing, it's because you do that thing a lot. It's your hobby. If you're
Okay,
just a
well,
casual fan, like, oh, I watch Transformers, you're not a movie fan.
okay, but if you play games like Candy Crush a lot, would that not make you a gamer?
No, it means you play games. It doesn't mean you're a gamer. That's not your hobby. Like you don't have a PS4, you don't have an Xbox, you don't have a PC, you have a
Yeah,
phone that you
no,
pay
no,
to
that's
use to pass
gatekeeping.
time.
That's gatekeeping.
I
I
think there's
think
a
you should
difference
be
between enjoying things that are hobbies and having that thing as a hobby, you know?
okay. Like you can have no, but you can have gaming as a hobby and just play casual games. I don't play a lot of hardcore games. I would consider
I
myself
mean,
a gamer.
fair, but if the only game you play is Candy Crush, then gaming is not a hobby of yours. Like if
Okay,
the
but if you
only
play
band you
Candy
listen
Crush a
to,
lot, if you play Candy Crush a lot, it's like or play games like Candy Crush. It's
no.
that's not being a gamer versus not being a gamer. It's being a gamer but being a gamer that plays games you don't like.
No, I mean, I would say the same thing of people who only play Call of Duty. They're not gamers.
They are. They play a lot of Call. I think anybody. This is what defines a gamer for me. Somebody who plays video games and plays them a lot.
I don't know. My definition of something like a person who's involved with a hobby, like a gamer, like a music fan, like a
I
movie
would call
snob,
that
whatever
more.
the label is, you have to not only do it a lot, but it has to be a hobby. And in order
I
for
would
something
call
to be a
that
hobby,
more like.
well, let me finish. In order for something to be a hobby, you can't just do one thing within that. Like, I'm not a guitar player if I only play Smoke on the Water.
Yes, you
I
are.
have to play other songs. I
Yes,
have
you
to
are.
learn other ways of using the guitar. I can't just do one riff
Okay, how
and
about
say I'm a
this?
guitar player.
Anybody who plays games on a regular basis is a gamer, and anybody who has a wide variety of gaming preferences can be a gaming enthusiast.
I mean, that's just what a gamer is. An enthusiast means that it's your
No,
hobby.
like, no, I don't. I mean, this is all semantics, I guess, but just. It's more just like I don't like discouraging people from hobbies because I collect vinyl records and I know a lot of there's facets of that fandom. What song is this actually?
We're on I'm the One.
Yeah.
As far as vinyl's concerned, like going back to what I was saying, if the only like vinyls you collect are the Beatles vinyls, then you're not a vinyl collector. You have to collect more than one type of vinyl.
Okay, well how about this? How about a casual? There's a term called a casual gamer.
Yeah, and that's what I would classify somebody who only plays Candy Crush as. A
Okay,
casual
fine.
fan.
Okay, that's just a subset of regular gamer though.
I would say it's not a subset. Like So subset implies that you are in of itself an enthusiast of that thing. So like for me, I play a shit ton of RPGs,
There are
right?
casual, there are casual gamers and there are hardcore gamers. You would probably consider yourself a hardcore gamer. I would
No,
consider myself a casual gamer.
I probably
And there's probably some sort of middle ground, but I wouldn't know, like maybe an intermediate gamer.
yeah, that's probably what I would be because I don't really play games as much anymore. But
Yeah.
my point is like within gaming, I play a lot of RPGs. I play more than RPGs. I don't just play RPGs, but I play a lot of RPGs. So that would be a subset. But if I didn't play any, if I only played Final Fantasy VII and nothing else, then I'm not a gamer.
Fair enough. I guess if it's just more like you played Final Fantasy VII, beat it once, and then never touched video games again.
I don't know. Like Christina's a prime example. She plays the Lego games, she plays Kingdom Hearts, she plays like a few other things. I would consider her a gamer, but not like a hardcore gamer.
Yeah, so like maybe a casual game. Because like I consider myself a casual gamer, but not because I don't play games a lot. It's more so just the kinds of games that I do play. Like most of the time I'm playing on my Nintendo Switch, I'm playing something like Tetris Attack or not Tetris Attack. What was the
That's
Japanese
99.
Yeah, Tetris 99. The version of Tetris Attack that's on the Switch online store that they renamed, I can't remember. I think
you
it's
also play like SNES games, you play Wii U games, you play more than just Switch.
well, yeah, I don't just play Switch, but I'm saying that genre of games. Like I play like Mario, Sonic.
Yeah.
Like Zelda is too extreme for me. Honestly.
I would consider people who even only play Nintendo games a gamer. To me, it's less about like
Well, it's not that
you
I
just
even
have to
only
play
like.
more than one type of thing, basically.
Yeah, like I'm not exclusively Nintendo. The PlayStation 4 is one of my favorite systems.
Yeah, I know.
He's the one who inspired me to get one even. So
Like somebody who only plays Fortnite, MOBAs, and like Call of Duty. Like I would consider that person a gamer, but somebody who only plays Fortnite or only plays Call of Duty, I would not consider a gamer.
okay, but does it matter what the frequency is? Like how often do they play Fortnite? How often do they play Minecraft?
Yes.
How often do they play Roblox?
Yeah, I would say frequency does matter, but not as far as like it doesn't. Okay, so let me clarify. If the only thing you play is Fortnite, it doesn't matter how much you play it. But if you play more things than Fortnite, then it does. So how much do you play Fortnite as opposed to Call of Duty? Do you like only
Jamie's
play Call of
crying.
Duty once a year? Then it doesn't count.
Jamie's crying is the song we are on now.
Yeah.
So
but if
like
you play Call of Duty like twice a week and Fortnite the rest of the week, then fine, you're a gamer.
fair enough. I would say, well, like going back to my thing about vinyl, and the reason that I don't really like getting so particular about labels is because, like I said, I'm a record collector, and there's facets of that community that are hostile towards, like, Tyler, like, for example, Tyler has vinyl records. He
I
has
have like over 60 now. Yeah.
over 60 now. He like just recently started, like a couple months ago, I think. Maybe a month ago. But like the record player he has, most record collectors would consider that to be absolute dog shit. And they would say things like, you know, you can't be a record collector unless you have a high-tech receiver and an Audio-Technica AP60X. Like, no, you like that discourages people because like Tyler's not going to buy a $300 turntable, a receiver, and powerful speakers. He doesn't have that kind of money, and even if he did, he doesn't have that kind of room, and even if he did, he wouldn't want to spend that kind of money or room on something that he might not like. Like shit like that discourages newbies. So that's why I said, like, you know what, Tyler, if you want to get a Crosley or a Victrola or whatever, go ahead, do it. It's an entry level.
I think you're not going to get this between gatekeeping and just being accurate, you know? Like, okay, a good example, like a while ago, Kim Kardashian was wearing a Morbid Angel shirt.
I don't even know who
Okay.
they are.
They're a death metal band. They're like one of the pioneers of
Well,
the
I
genre.
can definitely tell you I am not a death metal head.
Yeah. Well, people like immediately jumped on her. You're not a metalhead.
How the fuck
Why
do
isn't
you
she a
know?
metalhead? If she listens to Morbid Angel, there's no way she doesn't listen to other bands,
How the
right?
fuck do you know she's not a metalhead? Do you
I
follow,
think a lot
like,
of people were worried she was just using it as like a fashion statement or something, because people do that.
okay, but like, who uses Morbid Angel as a fashion statement? I've never heard of them. If it was like
I
Cannibal Corpse or something, I'd understand, but
Morbid Angel's probably just as popular as Cannibal Corpse.
oh.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like people use certain hobbies as like a fashion trend, you know? Like some people buy guitars just to display and they don't play them at all. Some people buy vinyl just to display and they don't even have a record player. Like that kind of stuff pisses off hobbyists because you're not a part of the hobby and you're just doing it as a trend.
No.
And so there's a fine line between criticizing that kind of behavior, which also pervades in like gaming and stuff like that.
No, I wouldn't even, like, if you buy records and you don't have a record player, there's billions of reasons you can own records.
I mean, I
We
was
are
just
on
using that as
Atomic.
an example.
We are on Atomic Punk, but like,
Like obviously, vinyl comes with like all kinds of stuff. Like you could get
this
it
is
signed.
this is my bottom line. This is my bottom line. Whatever you want to do, I'm not going to discourage it. I don't care if you're a vinyl collector and if you collect vinyl records, you just collect them for the artwork or you collect them for like the gatefolds and things like that. More power to you. Honestly, I would say that's probably the best part of me collecting, and I actually listen to my records.
I don't know. Maybe vinyl was a bad example, but
I don't know. I just don't like to criticize people. If you want to get into something, people shouldn't tell you what you should and shouldn't do.
okay. But those people aren't trying to get into it. They're just following a trend. They want to look like they're a part of the community without actually being a part of the community. You know.
I mean, I guess I would have a problem with that, but I mean, yeah.
And so that's kind of where I say there's a fine line between gatekeeping and criticizing that kind of behavior,
Yeah, I
which is
guess
what people were doing.
if you're just doing shit to be trendy, then like,
Dude, you're right. Atomic Punk is definitely the best song on this album. We
yeah.
actually haven't talked about the album much. Part of the reason why I haven't pushed that as much is because this is an album everybody has heard. What
Yeah,
can
I
we
wanted
say
to do a
about this
safe
that
one.
hasn't been said 50,000 times?
Yeah. I mean, this song is definitely one of Van Halen's biggest, like, underrated gems. I don't know a single person. I don't know if they've really played this much live, even.
I don't know.
That's a real shame because, like,
They
it's one of
should
the.
have.
They should. Like, it's one of the heaviest probably the heaviest Van Halen song of all time. Arguably. I mean, like, it's probably Eddie's best performance.
Yeah, it's really good. And this whole album is basically what I
Best
would call a
lyrically.
guitar album. You listen to it
Yeah,
for the guitar, and pretty much
exactly.
nothing else compares.
I mean, shit, that's why they named it after the guitarist.
I would say Roth is a good singer, but he does not blow me away.
I mean, look, Sammy Hagar may objectively be a better singer, but look, guys, Sammy Hagar sucks. I always thought Sammy Hagar sucked. He's good on his own. I don't personally like Montrose, but I guess I can understand the appeal. I don't get the appeal. I'm surprised people did not scream bloody murder with Sammy Hagar when he joined the band the same way they did when Gary Sharon joined.
I don't have a problem with Hagar. I think he's a fine singer. I think Roth is better,
He's good
but
on his own, but like, okay, fine, he's a better singer, but like just the style that they went in, like, okay, maybe Dreams, and then that's about it.
I don't know. I think the Hagar albums overall are a lot worse. What albums was he on? He was on.
5150. And by the way, we're on Feel Your Love Tonight.
Yeah, let me scroll down and look at the songs on that album.
5150, OU812, and then like there were two other ones that I can't remember. And
5150 was a pretty decent album, wasn't it?
it had Dreams on. I mean, like, it was commercially successful, but I don't like it.
I don't remember anything about OU812. I don't even think I listened to it.
Apparently, it's more bluesy, but honestly, it just sounds like the same shit as 5150 to me.
Van Halen 3 obviously sucks ass.
Well, that wasn't with Hagar. That one was with Sharon.
I know.
Honestly, I think Van Halen 3 isn't even that bad. It's not any worse than Hagar's shit. I mean, what was the one that came before?
I would say it's way worse.
No,
I think it's called Balance. I think it was Balance.
Balance. That was. Why doesn't anybody talk about Balance? That album was a train wreck. He was like coked out of his mind. He was basically done by the time that album. It was like the same level of disarray as like Never Say Die, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't a great album. 5150 I remember being pretty good though. I liked it.
I have it on I have all the Van Halen on vinyl up to OU812.
I'll have to give Hagar albums another listen. I don't remember them as well as I thought I did.
Maybe I need to as well, because I honestly haven't listened to them in about 5 years, maybe. I just, like... I've listened to them a couple times, though. Like, maybe not 5 years ago. Maybe more like, I don't know, maybe when I was in high school or college or something is probably the last time. So
I think, like, Van Halen is one of those bands that I just am never going to love. For whatever reason, there's just something about it.
I don't love Van Halen either, and the reason is because they have too many meh albums. Like, you have Diver Down, Van Halen 2, Women and Children First, 5150, OU812, all the Hagar shit, Van Halen 3, and even the new one, which I can't remember the name of.
I mean, even beyond that, even just albums like this, I'm never going to love.
I love this one, honestly. I think I have it somewhere in my top 50.
I mean, it's a good album, but, like, I don't know. There's just something about it. Like, objectively, it's probably an 8 or 9 out of 10, but, like, personally, maybe a 6.
I mean,
I like it, but there's just something about it.
We both heard this album. Should we just come right out and say what our ratings are?
Sure. So my rating is going to be an 8 out of 10.
Well, before you do that, here's a good song. Another
Little Dreamer.
Track. Little Dreamer. This is another great hidden track that nobody talks about.
I would say, like, the only songs I actually like on this album are Eruption, You Really Got Me, and Atomic Punk.
Listen to this riff, though.
I mean, it's good. Like, I'm not saying any of this is bad, okay? You gotta understand that. Like, there's nothing objectively here that I would criticize, except maybe you could have cut a song or two. But, like...
No, nothing should have been cut.
I don't know.
This album is like so short. You probably could have added a song. Honestly, this album is so short. You probably could have added a song from Van Halen 2 onto there. Maybe like Beautiful Girls or something. Like, they were all written, like, Van Halen 1 and 2 were basically composed around the same time. They were just shit that they've been playing in live sets for years up to that point.
I don't know what to tell you. There's just something about it that doesn't click with me.
No, but 10 out of 10 easily for me. There's a shit ton of variety. I mean, like, it all pretty much sounds in a similar vein. You need to listen closer. This song is like more kind of like depressing. You have like the hard like rockers, like You Really Got Me and Atomic Punk, and I'm on Fire. You have like sort of like the straight up blues songs like Ice Cream Man. You have fucking rumba salsa music like Jamie's Crying, or salsa influence rather. Like listen to the drums and you can hear that sort of ethnic influence to it.
I don't know. It
I
all kind of
honestly,
blends
I
together.
honestly didn't, I honestly didn't even know how much, guys. So David Lee Roth was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Watch that shit. It's so interesting. And he like kind of like detailed this album specifically and all of the variety on it. And you wouldn't think that until like you go into it with that mindset.
I mean, the same can be said of an album like Images and Words by Dream Theater. I mean, you have like the hard rock songs like Pull Me Under. You have Michael Jackson influenced stuff like Take the Time. You have like acoustic ballads. You have a metric
So
shit
I mean, like
variety on that album.
a lot of people like Images and Words, and more power to them. I personally don't like it, and the difference between Images and Words and Van Halen is I think Van Halen was more successful at doing variety. Anybody can do variety. I can do a polka song, a rock song, a pop song, a Celtic folk song, whatever. Doesn't matter unless it's
The
good.
main thing you criticized about Images and Words is that it all blends together and it doesn't sound like it had any variety.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong about that, but I will have to retract that opinion. But yeah, like listen to this. This is the Ice Cream Man, by the way. Like,
Well,
even if you don't love this song, you have to admire the variety of it.
my point with that entire thing is like, although there may be like objectively some variety in there, it can still sound like it blends together. And with the exception of this song, I would say it pretty much all does on Van Halen.
I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, definitely for me, 10 out of 10. This is on my top 50 albums of all time. I'm pretty sure somewhere.
I mean, I don't blame you for putting it there. It's not an album that I think deserves pretty much any criticism, except for that, like I said, it may blend together a little bit. But I mean, then again, so do multiple albums that I've given 10 out of 10s. So that's not really a bad thing
Yeah.
necessarily.
I mean, I get it if it's not really your thing, but like,
That's pretty much what it comes
yeah.
down to.
Yeah, so I understand if it's not really your thing. So I'm definitely saying for me, 10 out of 10. Every other album is like a 9 out of 10 or lower.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Like, I would give this album an 8 out of 10, and just because I don't think we're ever going to cover it, Fair Warning gets a 9.5 for me. That's the only Van Halen album that I could say I love.
Yeah, I would say like Fair Warning is like the closest thing they got to like being as good. It just like Fair Warning, I think, was like the only other album that really had the level. I mean, like they all kind of had some degree of variety, I guess. But like I think Fair Warning and Van Halen were the ones that were able to do variety and succeed at it. You had albums like Women and Children First, which had variety, but there were definitely weaker songs on there.
Yeah.
Like a
yeah.
lot of acoustic shit on that album. Diver
I
Down was
can't really
like
say any song on here is particularly weak. A few of them definitely feel like filler tracks, but
I would like no. I would not
I
say
don't
a
know.
single one
Like
of these tracks is filler.
when you think about Van Halen as a record, you think about Running with the Devil, Eruption, You Really Got Me. You think about
Okay, but that doesn't mean the other songs have. You are familiar with the concept of a deep track, right?
Sure, but what I'm saying is like nobody talks about Feel Your Love Tonight. Nobody cares about that song because it's just there.
A lot of Van Halen fans would disagree with you, Tyler.
Would they? I don't know.
They play it on the radio.
They play a shit ton of Van Halen on the radio.
Exactly.
Didn't
Because
they play like 90% of this album on the radio?
I'd say the songs they really don't play on the radio are Atomic Punk, which is an absolute shame. I'm the One, again, kind of a shame.
I don't know. Little Dreamer was meh.
Uh,
Nothing blew me away about that song.
yeah, Little Dreamer is one of my favorites. Just even the lyrics too.
I don't know. I'm
So
not
we are
saying it's bad.
on.
I'm just saying it's not a standout. It's mostly there to just be another song on the album.
We are on. I'm on fire. This is another really heavy track.
Yeah, this might be another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to grasp at straws to like figure out why this album doesn't work for me as much.
You know, even the guitar is like. Well, I understand if it's not your thing, but like a lot of people like talk about how great the guitar is on this album. Listen to the drums too, even.
No, it's
Even the
funny you
bass.
say that. I
Even the
was just
bass.
about to criticize the drums. I think the drums, they sound too much like drum beats. There's not enough human touch in them.
I mean, you can just keep pissing off the Van Halen fans, I guess. This is why we don't do mainstream shit, because Tyler has hot takes, and we're gonna, if we ever get an audience, piss off that audience.
Yeah, whatever. You said Haken's singer sucks. You want to talk controversial opinions. Even people who don't like the band say that like Haken's singer is one of
Okay,
the
but
best
nobody
singers
gives
they've
a
ever
fuck.
heard.
Okay, but nobody gives a fuck about Haken.
I mean, did you hear that they charted? They got into like the top 20 on Billboard.
I think that just proves we're desperate for anything to chart. I mean, shit, this whole lockdown thing has gotten us all out of whack as far as the Billboard charts.
Yeah. I mean, Haken will never be like a mainstream band, but if you're somebody who knows anything about prog, you know who Haken is. It's
Fair
sort of
enough.
the same thing as like Dream Theater.
Fair enough.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't
You know
know. It's
what?
probably just the sound.
Honestly, I keep forgetting about this song, and I kind of understand why. This might actually be like the first song I can officially say is filler.
Really?
I mean, it has a good riff, but like it's not as memorable as everything else on the album.
Yeah, so anyway, since the album's about to end, I'll just restate my opinion. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think like there's a few songs that aren't really all that interesting. The drumming is kind of samey. It's not very human. Kind of just sounds like a drum beat. Other than that, I can't really think of anything to criticize. It's just not really my thing. So I can't give it any higher, but objectively at least it deserves at least an 8 out of 10.
Well, I still believe it's a 10 out of 10 for all the reasons. I mean, just the not even the variety, just the execution. Again,
Yeah,
variety's not worth anything unless it's executed well. And
I agree to that.
I mean, how many millions of Van Halen fans, you know, can prove that they executed it well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Van Halen to this day is one of the most revered rock bands around.
Exactly. And
Mostly because
yes,
of the guitar player, but
I would say that they are influential.
to a point.
Okay, well, to a point, we are going to end Audioholics Unite today. I have been Logan. He has been Tyler, the destroyer of good opinions. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
I hate you all.